Greetings and welcome to another Pokemon 2019 or Pokemon Journeys anime episode review. This time I'm talking about episode 86, so let's get to it. Episode 86 begins where episode 85 ended, with Machamp and Lucario about to clash with Strength and Reversal, respectively. Machamp uses Strength with two of its arms to hold and stop Lucario. Lucario can't land a hit with Reversal as a result, however, Lucario cleverly sends the power of the Reversal down to its legs instead and it hits Machamp with a powerful kick that pushes Machamp back. But like a true fighter, Machamp simply slaps itself in the face and it shrugs off the damage. Ash then withdraws Lucario, which is well deserved since Lucario ended up battling all three of Bea's Pokemon one after the other without any rest, taking a lot of damage in the process, and Ash probably knows that he will need Lucario later. It's honestly impressive that Lucario is so resilient. I said this in my review of the previous episode, that Machamp punched the life out of Lucario and Lucario was still standing. And this is after Lucario was also hit with Sky Attack, so Lucario is definitely one tough Pokemon. So, Ash sends out Sirfetch'd next, which brought a smile to my face because I wanted to see Sirfetch'd in this battle. Since Ash did use Sirfetch'd back when it was still a Farfetch against Bea, when Ash and Bea battled for the first time, and Sirfetch'd was easily defeated back then, so I wanted to see Sirfetch'd get its revenge. I did not mention this in my review of the previous episode because at the end of said episode, we do get a preview episode 86 that showed that Ash would indeed use Sirfetch'd in this battle. So, Sirfetch'd immediately assumes a cool defensive and offensive stance. Go says that he is surprised because he thought that Ash would use Dragonite instead of Sirfetch'd, which is understandable since Dragonite would be the better choice in this situation because of typing. Karina says that Ash wants to face Bea head on by using his own fighting type Pokemon to defeat her, which is a very Ash thing to do, so I am sure that she is right. The announcer then says that it's a very heated battle and he wonders when Ash and Bea will use Mega Evolution and Gigantamax respectively. He directs this question to Leon, but Leon says, "Shh. I am enjoying this battle from the bottom of my heart. You should sit back and enjoy your role." So basically he says be quiet and focus on your own thing. Let me enjoy this in peace. I guess that Leon is the type of person that does not like to be disturbed when they are focused on something they enjoy, which is fine except that he is here as a special guest. And a special guest in an event like this is usually here to provide commentary and their thoughts. So Leon is a terrible special guest, and it's unfortunate that this is the case. In my review of the previous episode, I said that Leon's commentary on the battle should be interesting, but in the end, he basically says nothing. So, Sirfetch'd starts off with Fury Cutter, and I love how Sirfetch'd charges forward, with its sword pointed towards its target. Sirfetch'd looks like a knight in a duel on horseback, that is charging forward with a spear at the ready, which is very cool and fitting. Machamp counters with a barrage of bullet punches. Sirfetch'd expertly uses its shield to block the initial flurry of punches, and then Sirfetch'd attacks back, countering each punch with a Fury Cutter until Sirfetch'd is able to bypass Machamp's wall of punches and it lands a clean hit on Machamp. Machamp is pushed back and it's clearly hurt, so Bea withdraws Machamp. Bea then sends out Hawlucha, which is the Pokemon that defeated Sirfetch'd back when Ash and Bea first battled each other. So at this point, I was like, alright Sirfetch'd, this is your chance to get revenge. Hawlucha starts off with Flying Press, which is the move that took out Sirfetch'd when they last battled. Sirfetch'd uses its shield to easily stop and push back Hawlucha. This feels like Sirfetch'd is saying, not this time, I am not falling for that again. Sirfetch'd then uses Night Slash, which Hawlucha avoids by jumping. Sirfetch'd then uses Brutal Swing, and I love that Sirfetch'd throws its shield like Captain America in order to use Brutal Swing in this situation since Hawlucha is not close, but Hawlucha avoids the attack like Neo. I guess that all of Bea's Pokemon have watched The Matrix a little too many times. Hawlucha then uses Sky Attack and Sirfetch'd uses Night Slash. Both of them clash and there is a huge explosion as a result. Now when I saw this, I totally thought that this would be a double knockout, but nope. Instead, Sirfetch'd is the one that falls down and is defeated. My jaw seriously hit the floor here because I honestly could not believe what I was seeing. Sirfetch'd was taken out so quickly, so easily, in one hit, and without putting a scratch on Hawlucha. This is just wrong on so many levels. Sirfetch'd definitely deserved better. Sirfetch'd should have defeated Hawlucha, or at least, they should have tied. Hawlucha defeated Sirfetch'd when they first battled, so Sirfetch'd should have gotten revenge. Instead, Sirfetch'd is mistreated here big time, just like Gengar was in episode 77. In fact, it's pretty much the same situation. Ash uses Pikachu Lucario +1 in both battles. The +1 gets the short end of the stick in both battles. They are defeated easily without doing much, and each +1 is taken out by a move that Lucario was also hit with. But Lucario still kept fighting, even after taking a lot of additional damage prior to and after this hit. Granted, Lucario is not weak to said move like the +1s are, but the point still stands. And Lucario ends up defeating more than one opponent in both battles after duking it out with all three opposing Pokemon. So Lucario is basically a one Pokemon army, while Sirfetch'd and Gengar are both just weak filler. This is not okay whatsoever. Now I get it, Lucario is cool, awesome, strong, a fan favorite Pokemon, and a Pokemon that we all want to see dominating in battle. But the rest of the team, except for Pikachu and Dragonite, should not be sacrificed just so that Lucario can shine. Pokemon Journey seriously feels like the Lucario and Dragonite show, with a bit of Pikachu thrown in, and this is not fair. Sirfetch'd, Gengar, and Dracovish deserve some love as well. Now, I am not saying that I want them to nerf Lucario, or that I want to see Lucario lose, that I want Lucario to be the one that gets wrecked unceremoniously, or that Lucario deserves less screen time. I also want to see Lucario shine just as much as anybody else. All I am saying is that Lucario can still be powerful, it can still shine, and it can still be a force to be reckoned with, without turning the other Pokemon into punching bags that serve only to fill a slot in the team, and to be a free knockout for the opponent so that the battle is more dire for Ash. Which also makes it so that Lucario has to carry the team, which adds to Lucario's supremacy. It's a 3-on-3 battle for crying out loud. Each of Ash's Pokemon can take out one opponent. They can all do their part, and one of the battles could be more intense to highlight the strength of the Pokemon that takes part in it. Which, in the case of this battle against Bea, said Pokemon would be Lucario. But yeah, what happened to Sirfetch'd here left a bad taste in my mouth, and it almost destroyed the hype and the excitement that I felt for this episode. And it does not help that Ash says, Sirfetch'd, you did your best. No, Ash, I am sure that this was not Sirfetch'd's best. Just consider how well Sirfetch'd was using its shield during this battle. Sirfetch'd could have easily blocked the Sky Attack, and then it could have hit Hawlucha with a counterattack, instead of forcing a clash of moves against a move that Sirfetch'd is weak against. I seriously hope that this won't happen again with Sirfetch'd or with another one of Ash's Pokemon. So, with Sirfetch'd defeated, Ash predictably sends out Pikachu next. At this point, I predicted how the battle would unfold from here on out, and it turns out that I was right. It is unfortunate that the battle ended up being pretty predictable. Hawlucha starts off by charging another Sky Attack. Pikachu uses Thunderbolt, but Hawlucha avoids the attack by jumping. Hawlucha then gets ready to use Sky Attack. Ash has Pikachu use Iron Tail on the ground, so that Pikachu can take the Sky Attack by holding his ground, with his tail borrowed underground as support. This is a strategy that Ash and Pikachu previously used to take a Bolt Tackle from Biscuit's Raichu back in episode 18. This time, however, Pikachu also uses Quick Attack to shake violently in place, which generates shockwaves. Hawlucha then crashes into Pikachu with Sky Attack, however, Hawlucha is knocked back, and Pikachu is tired and injured but otherwise still okay. This means that Pikachu is also able to take a Sky Attack, so Sirfetch'd is the only one that is taken out by Sky Attack in this battle. Granted, Pikachu has a resistance to flying type moves, and he used such a crazy defensive tactic, but still this just makes what happened to Sirfetch'd even harder to accept. Go mentions that Ash used this strategy against Biscuits, but he did not use Quick Attack back then, so he wonders why did Ash use Quick Attack this time. Karina explains that by using Quick Attack, Pikachu was able to generate ultrasonic waves, which is why Pikachu took less damage from Sky Attack while also dealing some damage in return. Bea says that she is astonished because Ash used a combination like this, and she wonders if he is always training to pull off crazy stunts like this. Ash says that he just comes up with stuff while he is battling someone, which is classic Ash. Bea says that she is impressed because Ash can think of such crazy tactics on the spot. He does not actually plan these strategies, but she is more impressed with Pikachu because he is able to pull off the crazy stunts that Ash comes up with. She then says that defeating Ash will surely push her to new heights. Hawlucha then uses High Jump Kick, but Pikachu uses Thunderbolt to hit and defeat Hawlucha. I like that the announcer says here it's super effective, which it is. Bea sends out Grapploct next, so Pikachu and Grapploct get to face each other once again. Pikachu starts off with a Quick Attack which lands a direct hit, but Grapploct uses Octolock to trap Pikachu. Pikachu tries to use Thunderbolt, but he can't muster the strength to use it because of the Octolock. This is certainly a familiar sight, since this is what happened when Pikachu battled Grapploct during Ash and Bea's second battle. Ash tells Pikachu to relax his muscles, that struggling won't do any good. However, before Pikachu can do this, Grapploct tosses Pikachu high into the air. Grapploct then pummels Pikachu with close combat once Pikachu drops down, and this defeats Pikachu. Ash takes Pikachu back to his side of the battlefield and he says that Be Sure is strong. He then looks up to see that Leon is looking at him with eyes of expectation like, what now, Ash? So Ash says that he won't lose and he sends out his last remaining Pokemon, Lucario. Everything depends on Lucario now, which is not surprising. Bea tells Grapploct to be careful, that she won't settle for another draw. Now in this case, if Lucario and Grapploct knocked each other out, then Bea would still win because she has Machamp in reserve, while Ash has no more Pokemon left aside from Lucario. So it would only be a draw between Grapploct and Lucario and not a draw for the whole battle like it was last time. Grapploct and Lucario approach each other slowly and with caution. They are clearly wary of each other. Ash realizes that if this battle drags on for too long, Lucario won't have enough strength left to face Machamp, so he says that Lucario must defeat Grapploct in one hit. Lucario and Grapploct keep approaching each other in the same way. It's like a classic duel where two skilled opponents stare at each other while waiting to see who makes the first move. In this case, Grapploct is the one that attacks first. Grapploct uses Liquidation and Lucario counters with Aura Sphere. But Lucario overpowers Grapploct and so Grapploct takes the full brunt of a close range Aura Sphere. And Grapploct is defeated as a result, which means that Lucario was finally able to defeat Grapploct and this evens the score between them. They both now have a win, a loss, and a draw. So Lucario was able to get its revenge, unlike Sirfetch'd. Now I love how they show a close-up of the hand that Lucario used to fire off the Aura Sphere. The hand releases the leftover energy while Grapploct hits the floor in the background, emphasizing Lucario's masterful and impressive victory over Grapploct. Now I love that Leon smiles after Lucario defeats Grapploct. He is clearly very happy with this turn of events. It's clear that he favors Ash. So, Bea sends out her last remaining Pokemon, Machamp. It's worth noting that when Bea is going to send out Machamp, she says it's time to dig in our heels, which is what she says in the games when sending out her last Pokemon. Knowing that this is the final battle, that Lucario and Machamp are tired and that they have taken a lot of damage, Ash and Bea waste no time in unleashing their trump card. So, Bea withdraws Machamp. She says that she can't remember the last time that a battle excited her this much, and she smiles, which surprises Karina since it's not something that Bea does often. Bea then sends out her Gigantamax Machamp, and it's worth noting that while she Gigantamaxes Machamp, she says, "Fine then, let's just destroy everything. Your skill is worthy of respect," and Gigantamaxing, which is the exact same thing she says in the games when she uses Gigantamax. So, she quotes the games again, which is a nice detail. Gigantamax Machamp is, like every other Gigantamax Pokemon in the anime, a grandiose sight to behold. Now I love that Bea gets ready to give this final match everything she has by stomping the ground in this epic fighting stance, and Machamp takes the same stance as well. They are both in sync and ready to battle with all their strength. I also like that Leon looks at Ash and he says, "Now it's your turn." It's clear that Leon expects a lot from Ash. So, after witnessing Gigantamax Machamp, Ash Mega Evolves Lucario, which is something that I can't believe I am saying. We had to wait a long time, but the moment we have all been waiting for is finally here, and boy is it exciting. Now it is interesting that in the anime, Pokemon with a Mega Stone usually have a necklace or a bracelet or something like this, which holds their Mega Stone, which is a nice detail because in the games, held items are not shown on the Pokemon. They just appear out of nowhere, and this would look unrealistic in the anime. So I thought that Ash's Lucario would get something like this as well, which would be cool, but nope, the Lucario Knight just appears out of thin air. But here it is, the final battle. Mega Lucario versus Gigantamax Machamp. David versus Goliath, Pokemon Edition. Now I did envision a battle like this a long time ago, back when episodes 12 and 13 aired. Back then, Ash was still new to the Galar region and to Dynamaxing, and yet he wanted to battle Leon despite not having a Dynamax band at first. So back then it got me thinking how cool it would be if Ash had Mega Evolution. Or if a trainer like Alon would travel to the Galar region and then they must battle against Dynamax/Gigantamax when the best they have on hand is Mega Evolution. How cool would it be to see Mega Evolution versus Dynamax/Gigantamax? Cooler yet in Alon and Leon's case. Mega Charizard versus Gigantamax Charizard would be really cool. So I did imagine how awesome something like this would be, and it's nice that we actually get to see a battle like this now. So, Lucario starts off with a massive Aura Sphere. So big in fact, that Lucario has to use both hands to form it and throw it. This is clearly a Spirit Bomb style of Aura Sphere. Machamp counters with Max Steel Spike. Both moves clash. This causes a massive explosion which also creates a cloud of smoke that covers the battlefield. Lucario uses the cover provided by the smoke to close in on Machamp. Lucario uses Force Palm, but Machamp counters with Max Strike, which hits Lucario in midair before Lucario can land a hit with Force Palm. Lucario falls towards the ground as a result of this hit, but Lucario soon recovers and it bounces back towards Machamp. This time, Lucario manages to land a hit on Machamp with Force Palm, though Machamp does guard against the attack. Still, Machamp is pushed back. Bea then tells Machamp to increase its Dynamax power. I do want to point out that after Gigantamaxing Machamp, Bea still does the same motions that she has been doing throughout the entire battle whenever she commands her Pokemon. But now she is always smiling when she does this, which proves that she is definitely enjoying the battle now. So, Machamp gathers Dynamax energy in its fists and it uses GMAX Cheese Strike, which looks so intimidating and epic when you see it from Lucario's perspective. Lucario, like a total boss, just stands there in a defensive stance and it blocks the 4 massive fists. Lucario is somehow able to withstand the attack, which is absolutely insane. Even Machamp is like, what? How? While Bea simply smiles. Lucario then jumps onto one of Machamp's arms and Lucario rungs along said arm, which is an absolute classic thing to do against a giant. Lucario then jumps and it uses a Spirit Bomb Aura Sphere to hit Machamp in the face. Machamp falls back and it lands flat on the ground, and surprisingly, Machamp shrinks and it returns to normal. What is more surprising, however, is that Machamp is not actually out of the battle yet. In the anime, Gigantamax and Dynamax only end when the battle is over. And Machamp is not just still in the fight, but now its muscles are bigger than before and it still has Dynamax energy around its fists. Bea says that now Machamp can strike critical points with unmatched accuracy. This is the anime's interpretation of the fact that GMAX Cheese Strike increases the critical hit rate of the user and its team. Honestly, Machamp is like a boss that has multiple phases when you fight it. During one of these phases, the boss is huge, which makes them slow but powerful and intimidating. And once you defeat them in this form, they then have a phase where they go back to normal, which means they are much smaller. This makes them less scary to face, and they might deal less damage, but they are much faster and more precise, which means that they are still dangerous. And this phase is a more personal, duel-like battle. So, Lucario surrounds itself in aura and it rushes Machamp. Machamp uses Bullet Punch while Lucario uses Force Palm. Now, when Ash calls for Force Palm, he does the same motions that Lucario does, which reminded me of when Ash would do the same motions that Greninja did when Greninja was in Ash Greninja form. This is probably because Ash and Lucario are just in perfect sync, but maybe their auras are linked, which makes Lucario stronger and Ash knows exactly what Lucario is feeling and sensing. Bullet Punch and Force Palm clash. Lucario and Machamp both push with all their might, and Ash is seen screaming and pushing alongside Lucario, again suggesting that they are actually working together through aura, which totally reminds me of the father and son Kamehameha from Dragon Ball Z. After an intense clash, Lucario surprisingly learns Steel Beam, which it uses to overpower and hit Machamp. It's surprising that Lucario learns Steel Beam here, and it's interesting that Steel Beam is a move that decreases the user's HP when used. And Lucario also knows Reversal, a move that becomes more powerful the less HP the user has. So, Lucario has a powerful combo here of high risk, high reward moves that synergize very well together. Now, Lucario is clearly at its limit, and it can't go on much longer. While Machamp is down but still not out. And Machamp gets back up, so Lucario stands firm to show that it can still keep going if needed. But Machamp falls back down, this time for good, and so Ash and Lucario are the winners. Now I do want to mention here that it's interesting that Bea's Hawlucha is the only Pokemon that had swirls in its eyes when knocked out during this battle, which is unusual. And it honestly looks odd since it feels like the Pokemon are really hurt, since the swirly eyes are kind of a comedic detail that softens the fact that the Pokemon is hurt badly enough that they are out cold. Grapploct, however, looks like he's just taking a nice nap. Lucario's Mega Evolution then fades and Lucario falls back, but Ash catches Lucario. Ash wonders if Lucario is okay and Lucario smiles, suggesting that it is. Ash then says that Lucario did great, and indeed Lucario deserves a medal for everything it did in this battle. To say that Lucario carried Ash would be putting it lightly. Because of this victory, Ash's rank increases to 36. He is almost in the top 30, which is amazing. Karina wonders how much stronger Ash will get, since he even defeated Bea. Bea helps Machamp and she thanks Machamp for battling so well. Leon then stands up and he applauds. Everyone else in the stadium follows suit, so Ash and Bea are showered with applause and cheers, celebrating their impressive battle. The announcer then wonders what Leon thinks of the battle, and Leon says that he wishes he could have seen more of it, which is something that I feel as well. This surely means that Leon loved the battle, and Leon then leaves after saying this. Later that day during the night, Ash, Bea, Karina, and Go gather in the stadium. Go expresses how impressed he is with Ash's new rank, and Ash says that Leon was watching, so he was of course going to be fired up. But then Ash says that Leon left right away after the battle was over. Ash is clearly disappointed because of this. Bea says that this is for the best because they should only meet Leon on the battlefield. Which, yeah, makes sense, but then I remember episode 82 and all of a sudden, this argument is less credible. Bea says that during the battle, her heart was dancing. She says that she won't give up and she says let's battle again, Ash. So she finally calls Ash by his name. And they both bump fists, and Ash refers to Bea here as Miss Bea or Saito-san in Japanese. And Bea tells Ash that just Bea or just Saito is fine, meaning that Ash can drop the honorifics. So Bea definitely now acknowledges and respects Ash. This is not really surprising. I did see this coming because it is something that happens often. A character that strives to be the strongest only acknowledges and respects the characters that are stronger than them. The episode ends with the narrator saying that Ash still has a long way to go before he reaches Leon. So who will Ash battle next? Leon, Cynthia, Raihan, and Lance are shown here. And it is worth noting that in episode 77, they showed these same 4 trainers plus Bea. But now, here in this episode, Bea is not shown here because Ash defeated her. So this means that Ash will indeed battle everyone that is shown here at some point, which is very exciting. And that's the episode. So overall, I would like to say that this episode was without a doubt amazing because it did have some great moments in it. But I can't do this because, like I said earlier, I really hate what happened to Sirfetch'd. And I do feel that while the previous episode was paced very well, this one felt rushed. They wanted to get to the main event of Mega Lucario versus Gigantamax Machamp fast, and they wanted to dedicate a lot of time to this main event, which is why the rest of the battle was rushed. Sirfetch'd was taken out in one hit, Grapploct was taken out in one hit, though Grapploct did take some damage in prior battles. Pikachu and Hawlucha were also basically taken out in one hit, so these battles felt very underwhelming overall. Mega Lucario vs Gigantamax Machamp was really good though. From the animation to the music to the spectacle of it, it truly was an amazing fight. Easily one of, if not the best, single fight in Pokemon Journeys thus far. It really was insanely good, which is what ultimately saved this episode in the end. So yeah, overall I am kind of mixed on this episode. While I do want to say that it was amazing and that I loved it, the first half of the episode does hold it back a bit. I still do think that it was a great episode overall, it's just that it had a few things that keep it from being the best single episode in Pokemon Journeys thus far. But that's the video. As always, leave your own thoughts down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and would like to see more like it, then please consider subscribing to my channel. I love Pokemon and I love making videos on both the anime and the games. Also, please consider clicking the links on screen so that you can check out more videos like this right away. Thank you very much for watching and let's meet again in the next video.